This is for Jesus Warriors Club session once again. This is where we talk in depth about the Christian belief. Today I'm going to talk about the serpent. A serpent is a snake. There are many kinds of snakes. And a serpent is a crafty animal. In the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, it's written that Adam and Eve were living happily in the Garden of Eden. And a serpent talked to Eve when Eve was alone. A serpent told Eve that there were some forbidden fruits which they should eat. They had been told not to eat forbidden fruits from a tree. It is called a tree of knowledge. After they had eaten from that tree, their eyes opened and they realized they were naked. I'm starting from there. What is the truth and knowledge? A serpent, I looked in, is it Talmud? I was looking at the internet. Talmud says it can be seen as something portraying evil, portraying a rejoinder with God, portraying a new beginning. Just like a snake casts its skin when it's developing a new skin. So after Eve had taken the fruit and given the fruit to Adam, their eyes opened. That's one stage where we have a snake. What is this fruit? Let's move ahead again. In the wilderness, the children of Israel have offended God. God sends snakes, and they bite them and they die in large numbers. And God asks Aaron to make a copper snake. And he puts a copper snake on a pole. And the instructions are, do not mind how much you've been bitten by the snakes. Look at the copper snake on the pole and you'll be healed. That is a snake. A new beginning. A snake showing that all your problems, whatever the kind, can be solved by looking at the copper snake on the pole. That is a snake. We move ahead again. And now we get advice from Jesus. Be as wise as serpents and as peaceful or as calm as a dove. as wise as a snake. I don't know if I'm wrong. Could it mean that the serpent stood for wisdom, for knowledge? Because the same book says, my people perish because of lack of wisdom. Now I'm going to the past where we said other books were inspired and other books were not inspired. I'm coming to Solomon. Solomon was known for his wisdom. Snake could be wisdom. My question is, why is it that all the religions found it necessary? Because I've seen the book of the wisdom of Solomon. Solomon is known for wisdom. We only have small things talking about wisdom. When two women brought a child, one dead, one alive, and they had a dispute, and he used wisdom to solve that case. This book called The Wisdom of Solomon, it exists. Why did we find it necessary to be out, include other things, and leave the wisdom itself? And yet, Solomon, from the Bible context, is a man of wisdom. And there's a book of the wisdom. Then now, as we move ahead, we come to realize that without wisdom, we go astray. Wisdom is knowing how to react to the word of God, the consciousness of God, the presence of God, so that God can interconnect with you and solve your problems. I'm trying to look at this wisdom. We are Christians. Christianity began with the disciples of Jesus. Do not be limited, because any follower of Jesus, I would like to bring this knowledge to all the Christians. Jesus started with 12 disciples, but who is a disciple? A disciple is anybody who aspires to live like Jesus, to live by his teachings. So, we only have 12 disciples? I'll say no. Any follower of Jesus, be it a man, be it a woman, is a disciple of Jesus. So we are disciples of Jesus. We can talk in equal rights as disciples of Jesus. Jesus taught about the temple. And he said, you are the temple. Which means I am the temple. If me and you meet, we are two different temples belonging to one God. I would like to correct what has been happening, because if I am a preacher, I would like everybody to say, this is the God of 1 degree teacher. Yes, I am a temple. He is my God. Should you refer to the God of your temple as the God of 1-degree teacher? No, because our relationship is direct. If you are James, when you're referring to your God, you say the God of James. If you are Margaret, it is the God of Margaret. It's not necessarily that you should refer to your God as my God. That's why in the books, Elijah would say the God of Elijah. But we have now a trend where I am the one who is attending to several of you, and all of you have to call the God of your temple my God. No, it's not right. That one is your God because he's dealing directly with you. There's only one God, but it is a personal relationship. I'm going to bring to something of religions because, okay, people say Christianity forbid or whatever forbid, but there is polygamy. There are husbands who have got 2 wives, 3 wives. Some religions like Islam allow. If I am a wife to that husband and I am approaching my husband, I am called 1-degree teacher. There is a wife called Janet or June or whatever. Do I go and start telling my husband, yes, the husband of June? No, I am the one who is with the husband. I am the steering of the role. So it would be the husband of 1-degree teacher. The word of God tells us we are the bride of Jesus Christ. Because there is one Jesus, and all of us share that one Jesus. It is a personal relationship between you and Jesus. So if it is James, or it is Margaret referring to the husband, to the bridegroom, then it is the God of Margaret, the God of whoever. It is a personal relationship. But it has become a trend nowadays for people. I am the one who is commandeering everything. It has to be referred to me. No. You have a direct relationship with your Creator, with your Maker. So it is your God. Refer to God by your name. He is your God. We are the brides of Christ. And why do we say brides of Christ? Because biologically it's interesting. The Y chromosome starts operating later after the conception of a child. So when the embryo begins, first we all start alike. We are XX. So in the beginning, we are all female. But the Y chromosome later kicks in. And that's what brings about the difference of male, female. It is a gender role. We are all men. That's why we call ourselves mankind. You call a woman, a wombed man, because she's a man, but a man with a womb. And when we say the plural of men, the women will say women. And when we are men, we say women. So, according to that, God is personal. Your worshiping to God is personal. When you meet together, it's only on corporate basis, but I'm not superior to you. and you're not superior to me, like the way we have put it in most forums. 2, when Jesus came, Jesus was a radical teacher. And he fought against corruption in the Herodian temple. He was a rabbi. That's why people would ask him, Rabbi, a teacher. And he was against corruption because you had to cleanse, and there were so many cleansing ways, and people were making money out of that. They had to bring things physically for sacrifice. And according to the Jewish religion, the Judaism, you don't have to give those things because this is an interconnection between you and your God. But they were going for what we are doing now. We've brought corruption in the church. We go for the ancient, the things that were being done by the Levites. You are no longer there. We want 10%. We want I don't know what. Those ones were the traditions of the Jews. Presently, you are just supposed to worship God. And if you meet in a corporate setting, then you can decide offertory, what you can be able to give. But it's not conditional because you are a temple. So nobody should tell you that he's going to bestow those blessings to you, because even Jesus in his operations, the woman with the issue of blood touched the hem of the dress of Jesus. What did Jesus say? Woman, your faith. What? Woman, your faith. The centurion comes and talks about a servant who is sick. And Jesus says, let me finish with this other business and we go. And this one says, I am the man of the forces. With us, when a senior one gives a command, it's done. And Jesus says, in the whole of Israel, I've never seen such a faith as great as that. It's done. Faith. So what most of us lack is faith. And what connects you with your solutions is faith, not a person. God does not have go-betweens. Jesus does not have go-betweens. But in our system, we have also created, because of control, those who are holy than the rest of us. Remember, when Jesus reached the time of sacrifice, that was 3, when he was dying as a sacrificial lamb, the curtain of the temple tore into 2. That's how it's written in the Bible. Exposing the Holy of Holies, meaning nobody is going to stand before you as holier. It is your connection to Jesus Christ. So the Holy of Holies was removed. That's why when we now pray, you don't have to face anywhere. The other time was the first Christians who would face Jerusalem, the Herodian temple, the temple of Solomon. But when Judaism changed, you could not face that place. It was still the same one, but people started getting liberated. With Jesus, it was the Holy of Holies is gone from here. You have a direct connection with God. So, in the belief as a Christian, I am an independent temple. You are an independent temple. Read the word of God. Read the Bible. Follow that. Know that whatever will happen, even if I come to pray to you, as people do, your faith will determine what will happen, not my faith. So operate with your faith as an independent temple. Jesus Christ is the one you are attached to. Find a connection with Jesus. If you're listening to me and you'd like to convert to Christianity, I would advise you download a Bible app on your phone, or you buy a Bible. Read, understand, connect with Jesus. There's no problem meeting as corporate temples to worship or praise. But when you meet, anybody can take anything. Everybody can talk about the word of God, because there is none greater than the other. It's only Jesus who is great. You are each an independent temple. That is my take from the Christian view, the way things have gone. The first Christians, the first assembly of Christians. That is my take. But I urge people to come to Jesus. You are an independent temple, holy to God. I urge those who wish to join and be warriors, because Christian life is not a quiet life. It is a warrior's life. You have to fight temptations. You have to talk to people who are not Christians. If they can come, you don't force them. You have to fight temptations in your life. You have to fight to learn the word of God and keep faith. So for those who would like to join the Warriors Club, Jesus is our fort. Welcome to Fort Jesus Warriors Club. Get your book, the Bible, read, commit yourself to Jesus. You are a member of Fort Jesus Warriors Club. You are an independent temple. Thank you.